Manager here at Emaze. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make an amazing first impression by captivating and inspiring your audience through Emaze. To quote Steve Jobs, technology is nothing. What's important is that you have faith in people, that they're basically good and smart, and if you give them tools, they'll do wonderful things with them. So there are two components to delivering an amazing presentation. There's the presentation itself and the story you tell behind it. And today I'm going to teach you how to do that. Getting started your first presentation is pretty easy. I'm here at emaze.com and I'm going to click the log into my account. You'll see that I'm already a registered user, so it's going to welcome me back, and I'm going to click log in. Once you're logged in, you'll see at the top that there's 4 different actions. The first is My, which allows you to see presentations that you've created. There's the Shared button, which allows you to see presentations that others have shared with you or collaborated with you to edit. There's Explore, which are presentations that are created by our users using our templates. And of course, at the end here, we have New, which is what I'm going to do today, create a new presentation. So sticking to the topic today of Steve Jobs, I'm going to find a template that's appropriate for the subject. So we have a large variety of templates and themes from 3D, 2D to animation, and if I hover over any of these templates, I'm able to see a preview. So this is just a sample. But since we're talking about technology today, I'm going to choose our new template, High Tech. You can see in this particular template that we have 4 different colored themes. This is not available for all of our templates, but for this one we have these options. So I'm going to choose the first one. And one of those, I'm going to start building my presentation. So the subject of today is 11 presentation lessons from Steve Jobs. I want to make my first title list. So I'm going to browse through our slides, and you'll see here that you have a large variety of different selections, from charts to shapes to objects. But since this is my title, I want to go ahead and type it right here. So I'm going to call this presentation. If I double click, I erase the text, and I'm going to change it to 11 presentation lessons. And this text is obviously too big and doesn't fit. So I'm going to double click here, and I'm going to adjust the size by clicking on the T here. I'm able to minimize the size of my text. And I want to make my subtopic, my subcategory here, from Steve Jobs. And we have our first slide of the presentation. So going back to Steve Jobs, he has 11 presentation lessons that he gave from his speeches. The first one was to show passion, to open with an amazing statement. When Steve presented the iPhone, it was a revolutionary product. No one had anything out like this. It was the first smartphone of its kind. To open to present this amazing technology, Steve said, "This is a day I've been looking forward to for 2.5 years. Every once in a while, a revolutionary product comes along that changes everything. And today, I might argue that this product is now, in fact, Emaze." So when he came out and he presented this, he had the most simple and basic slide. All of Steve's presentations did not have more than 19 words. That's it. Everything else was based solely on visuals and storytelling. So you won't believe what his first slide was. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that for you. So I'm going to click back here on my slide, and I'm actually going to choose a blank template, a blank slide, sorry. And I want to add some new text to the slide. I'm going to click text here, and I want it to be a title. So I'm going to type here, iPhone. Now I want some subtext. So I'm going to click here, and I am going to write the last part. Apple reinvents the iPhone. That's all that Steve wrote. And the words were in the product itself. So obviously this isn't aligned properly, so I'm going to adjust it here. I'm going to move iPhone over here. I'm going to change the size of the text, the space. And now I think that for this, I want to change it, and I want to call it text. If you click on the text at any time, you're able to change if it's title, subtitle, or text. I can change the alignment. I can bold it. I can change the color of the text. I can add a background color. I can add shading. I can adjust shading on the entire section. I can add bullets, alignment, paragraph, text, sound. You're able to move the images back, front and back when you have an image. You're going to rotate your text. And we also lastly have a favorite of our users, 3D, which I'll get more into once we go. So the third point that he makes is that whenever you make a presentation, your audience needs to be able to adjust it and segment it, break it down. Because we all know how boring presentations are going to be. You have to give them some sort of balance. So in the presentation that I'm giving for you today, I have 3 different sections. There is iPhone, and you'll see up here we have section title. I'm going to label this iPhone. The third section that I'm going to create is going to be iPod. And the last section that I'm going to make is going to be Stanford commencement. Okay, so now we have our sections, so we're able to divide our presentation properly and actually move on to the next topic, which is the iPod. Every presentation that Steve made, he would introduce some sort of villain to it. It doesn't necessarily have to be a negative thing, just expressing how the product is better than his previous predecessors of the Walkman and the record player, the MP3 player, and how he's going to be better than those things. So for our villain, I wouldn't call it our villain necessarily, but I would call it a bit of our competition. We're not PowerPoint. We're reinventing the presentation industry, and we're offering a product with design features that are incomparable to PowerPoint and to Prezi. We clean up that noise, and we take the noise that PowerPoint gives you and provide a software with advanced media technology, including 3D, 2D, and animation. It's an easy console. We eliminate the clutter, and we make it an easy and user-friendly software to use. So you don't have to play around and see what all the features are. Everything is right there, all the colors, all the designs, all the charts, and we do all the design work for you. All you have to do is put in your content. Pretty simple. So while we're on this topic, I'm just going to show you a presentation that's not so flattering. I'm going to choose this image slide right here. Sorry, the internet's having a little bit of issues. And I want to take an image of a PowerPoint and replace it with this image of a phone. So I have here on my browser, I already pulled up a PowerPoint image. Oops, sorry about that. And I want to replace it with this one. So I clicked on that photo icon right here, and I'm going to paste in my image. I'm going to push update. And you'll see that it fits perfectly. If for some reason it doesn't, you're able to adjust the alignment by pulling on the corners to adjust the size. And this particular image fits perfectly, so I'm not going to do anything else to it. So as I was saying before, there was the villain of the iPod. So when he presented these things, he had to show something quite incredible. So I have a bit of a comparison graph that I'm going to add here. But this is something really interesting you should know about how we did present it. So instead of saying something like, today we're introducing a new portable music player that weighs a mere 6.5 ounces, is about the size of a sardine can, and both voluminous capacity, long battery life, and lightning fast speeds. He didn't say that. Instead, all he said was, iPod, 1,000 songs in your pocket. That's all he had to say, and the world was impressed, and everyone wanted an iPod. So I am going to insert an image with that comparison and show you a little bit more of how to adjust images. So I already have it here in my browser. I'm going to right-click. I'm going to copy. And I am going to paste my image. So I'm going to click right here on this photo, or I can actually click here and I'm able to replace the image. But this is just a little easy hack. I'm going to paste it, update, and there we have our image. You should also know with our images that you can simply copy and paste images from the web or drag them into your slide, or you also have the option to upload them from the web or your desktop, like I just showed you. So I started talking a little bit about some of the photo features, or our image features rather, and I'm going to show you a bit more now. Here you're able to change the appearance. So if I want to make it look like it's in a magazine, I can. This actually looks pretty cool. Here, again, this is where you upload your image. You can crop. You can add border width to change the color of your borders. You can add shadowing, much like Instagram. You can do shading. You can change the color. You can insert a link. So if I want to copy and paste the link that I just put in to upload this photo and make it clickable, I can paste here, add it, and now when my presentation is on play, the photo is actually clickable and it will go to the link to this photo. You can add sound from YouTube. You can move text back and forward. So right now you'll see that the text is hidden. I want to move it forward now from this photo. So I'm going to do this, and now the text is brought to the front. You can rotate it. And this is pretty nifty. Our 3D feature allows for images or text to go into 3 different planes. So if you watch here, sorry, it's clicking on the text. There we go. I'm going to click on my image. Move this around. Now this text is moving. Let's see how it looks on an image. I click outside of there. I only want this highlighted. And rotate it. It can move it back and forward, which is pretty cool. It looks like it's popping on the screen. You don't even need 3D glasses. And rotate it. I can flip it. It's a really, really cool feature. All right. So this was a little bit of section about villains. The other amazing thing that Steve had the capability of doing was building simple and very visual slides. As I mentioned earlier, he only had 19 words per slide. So that means that he relied on his story. And part of that story is having amazing visuals and being able to back it up. So in order to do that, he often used charts. So we actually have a feature for that. We have a section here at the top called charts where you're able to plot data. Unlike PowerPoint, you don't have to use Excel. You don't have to be a mathematician to use this. Anyone can do it. It's extremely user-friendly, and you don't even have to leave the platform to use it. We have columns, we have pies, we have plots, we have scatter charts, we have pretty much everything, and you're able to do it all directly through Emaze. And we also have our pre-designed slides here, where we have some chart samples already made. For example, this one. Or we have another option that you can use our objects to make pretty nifty charts as well. For example, we have this one here, which helps me segue into my next topic, my next and my final topic. So we talked about the 3 sections. My last section is actually the Stanford commencement speech. Many of Steve Jobs' most famous quotes came from the speech. For whatever reason, the speech really inspired people and made Jobs this amazing figurehead and entrepreneur. So I want to take this video that Steve made, or rather the speech that he gave, and I want to embed it into this presentation. So I already have it up. I'm going to open up a new slide. The shapes here that you're seeing now, I'm going to get back to it in just a moment. But first, I want to make a new slide on video. So I'm going to create a slide here, and I'm going to choose this slide to insert the video. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to right-click. I'm going to take this video. And I'm going to insert the presentation. So I'm going to paste the link here. You don't have to do any embedding. We do it for you. All you need to do is copy and paste the link. I'm going to click here, and there we go. It embedded the video for us. Now, of course, you could make any sort of modifications that you need to. You can expand it, you can shrink it, and of course, you can play your video as well. When Steve gave this speech, he was telling a story, a beautiful and amazing story that really inspired people. The other thing that Steve did that made the speech so amazing is he practiced. He practiced and practiced and practiced. Steve always practices his speeches and his presentations before he gave them. This is what made him so wonderful. He didn't just give them, he put thought to them. He was passionate about what he was doing. In each presentation that he made, he spent hours coming up with the perfect words and visualizations to tell his story. So I mentioned objects earlier, and I want to get back to this point. The 9th thing that we learned from Steve is that you never read your notes. You should always, always come prepared. In order to do that, you should have good visualizations that are just there as talking points and not there to tell the story for you. So often he gave numbers showing, for example, the number of MP3 players sold or the prices of a Walkman versus the price of what an iPod will be. So to do this, he showed visualization. So here to do this, we have shapes that show this visualization. If you click on this icon up here, shape, we have a bunch of different options, and you can play around with these shapes and insert them into your presentation. So since we were talking about the iPhone, I'm going to go ahead and click on this iPhone that we already have, and I want to replace one of the circles, and I want to use an iPhone instead. So I want to erase this image here. Now you'll see that the text disappeared. Don't worry, because the background was black and the text was white. So now I need to either change the text color or change the background color. So I want to change just the background color. So I'm going to make the background text black. And I'm going to adjust it so that the iPhone frame fits in. I'm going to shrink this a little bit. And now I need to adjust the size of my object to fit into the text. And there you go. We have an iPhone instead of a circle. Now you can make many of the changes that you make to text also with the object. You click here, you can change the color. You could change the inside borders of it. You could adjust the color and shading. You can add frames, shadowing, effects, length, sound, moving the image from front to back, rotating, and of course, the user favorite, 3D. Literally having popping out to you. Okay, so that's it on shapes. So now that we made our presentation, we obviously want to be able to share it with people, which is really, really important. So if you click on the play button over here, we're actually able to view our presentation. So I'm going to start from the beginning. And we're able to look at the presentation that we made. Now, if I want to share this with one of my friends who doesn't have Emaze, you're absolutely able to. If you click right here, you'll see that you have a couple options. The first is to duplicate, which is to duplicate the slide. Download, which is to download your presentation offline. So for some reason you don't have internet, you're able to download and view your presentation. This is actually a feature that we have on our premium packages, and this is our most popular feature. You can print, and you're also able to share. You can also translate your presentation into any language that's on Google Translate. So I want to share this presentation. I go here. I have a couple of options. I can either put in the person's email. Let's say I want to send you that info@emaze.com, and the person will see a mail. Or I can take this link and directly share it with them and paste it into my browser or email, whatever. You can embed your presentation into a website. And lastly, you're also able to collaborate. Collaborating meaning sharing it with someone who's also able to edit your presentation. If you see here it says collaborate, you must be an Emaze user to use this feature. You won't be able to edit simultaneously, but you'll each be able to make changes to the presentation independently. So that wraps up our demonstration. The last two things I want to leave you with are to always have fun. That's number 10. And lastly, every presentation that you're making, you should inspire people and make them feel motivated. And to quote Steve Jobs, you should stay hungry and stay foolish. Thanks so much.